All right, so up next, we'll talk about Hazbin Hotel. This was a show that I was just hearing about, online, and what's the show about, and all this weirdness and all that kind of stuff, right? I sort of had to do my research on this, right? And I found out that the pilot for this actually was released in 2019 on YouTube. So I actually watched that before jumping into the series itself, right? This is the brainchild of Viv C. Pop, right? Or Vivian Medrano, right? An animator who I am not. I know nothing about her at all. I haven't even seen her. Like if you were to go on Wikipedia right now, like the image for her, like it's not even like you don't see a profile photo. You just see like a image that she drew or whatever it is, right? So yeah, I know nothing about her. I think if I'm not mistaken, Ricardo, Double Toasted, or I say Corey Coleman had interviewed her a few years back. I should look
Okay.
it up. I didn't get a chance.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, if you say so, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
no problem.
Well, but I thought you knew. I thought that at least you were familiar with the
Not really. That thing is one of these things I just kind of slipped past my radar now. Like I it's scuttlebutt now, but I don't remember like watching the material or getting into it. But I'm aware of her as as an animator. I kind of.
Okay.
I mean, that's about it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there was that, right? And then there was also a spin-off series, right? So it's not actually Hazbin Hotel, but a series called Hell of a Boss. That one, I think that's a web series. That one I'm not familiar with at all, right? But I believe you're familiar with it, Ashton.
Hell of a Boss is actually one of my favorite YouTube animations. That
Okay.
along with the Bravest Warrior. If you guys have never seen it, the Bravest Warrior is hilarious, and it was YouTube animation. But the YouTube animation space is very weird, right? Because initially you're gonna get lots of offerings, and then all of a sudden nothing. And then that's how it was for me and Hell of a Boss, because as you said, Hell of a Boss introduced Hazbin Hotel to kind of make it a universal thing. But then they stopped doing Hell of a Boss totally and only focus on Hazbin Hotel because of some kind of animating problem or some kind of drama they were having in the background. But what I like about the show, right, is still their use of colors.
Yeah.
They use very specific colors in the show, and they try to keep it that way. Also, in this show you cannot like any character you really come across, because at the end of the day everybody in hell, right? And there's a reason everybody in hell. The creepiest character in this show for me is Alistair. I don't know if you came across Alistair when you was watching it.
Trying to remember who Alistair was.
Yo, bro, he's
Alistair.
the most creepiest.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I know you talk about, right? Yes, Alistair, the radio demon. I'll talk about him. That actually is a standout character in Hazbin Hotel. Yeah.
Super creepy guy. Super. Do you know his lore? Do you know the lore of Alistair?
I know that they mention it in this show here in this season. Like they gave like a brief run through of, or I should say, because there's this whole continue going on. Like he suddenly disappeared, right? So what happened to him? And they kind of hint at what he was up to and what what he have in mind in terms of what he want to accomplish, basically, which is nothing good. You know what I mean? But they just sort of hint at it. They didn't really dive too deep into it.
Yeah. All right. So I'll give you a quick rundown on Alistair, right? So Alistair, when he was still part of the living, he was a serial killer, but he also worked on the radio, right?
Okay. That explains his character, the way how he moves. Very, very sinister, but very kind of sneaky,
Very slimy, like a typical used car salesman kind of vibe. Like,
yes.
Yeah. But basically, he was a serial killer. And he went to go and bury a body, and a hunter shot him in his head, and that's how he died. Because part of his serial killer getup was wearing antlers, so the hunter thought he was a deer and busted him in his head and killed him, and that's how he ended up in hell now. And he still continues to be the radio demon in hell, right? And his voice is very unique. I love his voice.
Yeah, what
in
they
the
do
show.
is a sort of a filter that they use, right? Where it sounds like an old timey 40s radio. So it's like, we have to talk like this, and it's a kind of a distortion that they do on his voice, and like every time he speaks, it sounds like it comes from one of those old, again 1940s radios, right? It's a very like nifty piece of sound editing. Do I should really like look up like what preset, maybe it's on Adobe Audition. I don't know, maybe it's there, but I'd learn it.
Yeah. And man, I think the show does a good job. I don't wanna expose too much and over speak about it and leave you out to the lurch, but the Lucifer and Lilith character is also top tier stuff. The writing is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, you have to take into like consideration this all happening in hell, and this is all demons we're dealing with the exception of 3 people who are not really demons, but they are kind of demons, but not really.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the show's sick. I love it, and I wish that they would give Hell of a Boss the kind of attention that they're giving this. Hopefully one day when they figure out what's wrong, they can also get back together and do that as well.
Agreed. Or I don't know, maybe merge the two together, or at least take some characters from Hell of a Boss and put it in this show. Who knows, right? I guess we'll see. We'll see very soon, right? But yeah.
Problem with that is the musical aspect of Hazbin Hotel goes against the Hell of a Boss vibe now, which is down on your luck company that hires people to kill people. That's it.
Okay.
So that's why the it wouldn't mesh. I mean, it would mesh maybe. That'll be interesting though. That'll be interesting if they could actually pull that off. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. But all right, but let's get back to Hazbin Hotel, right? So we mentioned hell and demons and all that kind of stuff. So what it's about, right? Just stick with me, guys, right? So what it's about, it's centered on the character of Charlie Morningstar, right? Who is the princess of hell, right? So her father is Lucifer, and her mom is Lilith, right? So actually they do something very good in this premiere here, right? That they did not do in the pilot, right? I'll compare the two later on, right? Where they kind of explain how this world works, right? So as I said, Ashton, yes, it's set in hell, right? But they tell like a much different story of, the creation of mankind, so they do a flip on the Adam and Eve, from the Bible, like they flip it and tell it in a much different way, right? But it's all to set up the fact that now we have hell where, of course, sinners go, right? And they have to reside there, right? But heaven, and just keep in mind, right? So, okay, so let's get this out of the way, folks. You're not really supposed to take any of this seriously, right? Especially if you are like very religious. You're not supposed to take any of this seriously, right? Like I am a Christian, right? And I watching all this and I'm like, yeah, I really really should not take any of this seriously, right? But I know some people will watch this and think that, oh, you're trying to subvert this, and you're trying to clean up this, and you're trying to tell people this is how heaven
devil thing is. You're trying to bring them to the Satanism.
Exactly.
That's what they're gonna be saying.
No, folks, no, that's not what it is. If you come out of this thinking that this show is like pro Satanism, then you absolutely miss the point of this, right? It's not, right? It's just like a weird, twisted take on the whole heaven versus hell, good versus evil kind of thing, right? So it's literally reversed in this show, right? But anyway, so we have Charlie, who is the princess of hell, right? And the idea is that, because you have these sinners here, right? So every year, there's these representatives in heaven, right? Well, they call the exorcists, right? So it's this specific, soldier, angel. There's a whole bunch of them who go down to hell and just pretty much, the idea is that, the sinners will eventually rise up to earth, or they will try to bring some kind of influence onto the people of earth, right? Who are still living on earth, right? So we have to go down to hell every year and wipe out as much as these people as possible, as much as these sinners as possible, and then we go back up, right? But in Charlie's mindset is like, well, no, you're kind of killing innocent people or send demons, right? So her plan is that she creates a hotel, right? And in the pilot itself, you see her actually establish it, right? But in this season, it's already established, right? So the name of the hotel is Hazbin Hotel. So the idea is that, sinners can be redeemed. And if they're lucky enough, maybe they could go into heaven. They could be redeemable enough to be sent to heaven, right? Because she doesn't want to see more, sinners or at least people who live in hell with her die, every year because of this weird purge that, these angels are doing, right? So.
Right. That whole scene was kind of weird, eh? That whole the law, yeah.
Now I'll tell you, it's a weird law, though. You know what I mean? But again, I'll talk about the pilot in relation to that in a bit, right? She has a girlfriend by the name of Vaggie, right? Who is voiced by McGill.
Worst name ever.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? And they actually explain why she's called that, and it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm not gonna spoil anything on that. That actually makes sense, right? She, as you'd expect from a character, I don't know, like it's just something with the characters that Stephanie picks to play, except for for who she plays in Encanto. I forgot the name right now. Yeah, she always plays like these kind of cynical characters, just like like whatever, I don't care, I hate you, like that, right? But she supports, Charlie in her role, right? Because Charlie is so upbeat and so optimistic and so weird, right, in this world, right? But yeah, she's like so driven to, save souls, right? So that's really what it is, right? So she's doing that, right? You mentioned the radio demon, right? That's Alistair, right? So
yeah, gummy guy.
Yeah, right. So Alistair, right? In the pilot, you see how he becomes part of, or I should say, really helps running the hotel, right? But this one, he's already there. He's trying to bring people in there and whatnot. But just the way how he moves and whatnot, that there's something else going on with him. I'm not gonna say what, right? But you have that. You have a bartender by the name of Husk, who is voiced by Keith David. I'm like, what? We Keith David. We talked about him with the Masters of the Universe Revolution show. Yeah, he did, and he is a very, very cynical character as well, even more cynical than Vaggie, right? So it's like that. We have Nifty, who is voiced by my next girl, Kimiko Glenn. She is this sort of like mischievous, childlike demon who is just she is there to clean up the place and whatnot, right? And last but not least, we have Angel Dust, right? Who was introduced in the pilot, who is this ex-porn star. Well, sorry, I should say not even an ex-porn star. He still is a porn star, right? They kind of set up that he is possibly pansexual because, he could go either way. That's the assumption, that's the term I'll use just to, describe him, right? Pansexual. That's how he comes off to me, right? Yeah, he is very, 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 very horny. Is all these sexual double entendres and all that kind of stuff. He's always thinking about fucking, always thinking about sex all the time, right? But he is the first person, the first resident, so to speak, of the hotel, and they're trying to, set him straight, right, so to speak, right? And throughout the show, we just see a bunch of misadventures, involving Charlie and just her trying to set things, just trying to live by her promise now. She wants to save souls, right? But at the same time now, Heaven now has a plan, and through some circumstances, they cut the time to do this purge now to 6 months now. So in 6 months they're gonna come down and just waste a bunch of demons, right? So now our heroes, so to speak, have 6 months to try to save as much souls as possible, right? One of the guys who's running stuff in Heaven is Adam, as in D Adam, right? And I'll say right off the gate, he is one of the best characters in this whole show, but I'll tell you why in a bit, right? But Ashton, what are your thoughts on this season here? And I'll just close off with my thoughts.
Personally, I think it was good groundwork, and as you said, right, if you're gonna sit down to watch the show, you need to watch it with an open mind, right? Because obviously the content is very jarring to some people, right?
It is, yes.
And shows like this have existed before, shows like God, the Devil, and Bob, Good Omens, shows that kind of try to blur the line.
Stuff like American Gods kind of follow that same sort of trend, like subverting what we know about religion and stuff like that.
Religion, right? But I mean, even American Gods has a nice way of bringing it with the new religions being like internet and this and that. It's really because that's what people pray into, right? That's the whole theory behind it, which is sick. But you have to watch this with a real open mind, because whatever somebody considers a sin or a hellish thing or a devil thing, it's going to pop up in this show, and it's going to affect you the way that it's presented to you. So, all right, for instance, if you are extremely religious and you do not believe in girls dating girls or guys dating guys, this is gonna
Yeah, boy. Yep.
this is gonna damage your feeble, smooth brain self, you know what I mean? Even my little reptile brain can handle it, but I don't know about these other people out here, you know? Show was good. I mean, I could use less musical. I mean, I said that earlier, right? But for the tonality of the show and what the show is trying to do, it works for the show. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see a little bit of Hell of a Boss, as you said, a little crossover in there as well, you know, give a little nod to them. Be interesting. And I would definitely recommend this once you have an open mind. And it doesn't make sense to hate watch it. You're just wasting your life to hate watch something, right? So if that's in your plans, I mean, like, that's time you're never gonna get back in your life, and you can't afford to waste time.
Or what I would say, if certain people plan on watching this whole season out just so they can make videos and say, oh, you're not supposed to watch this because it has all this content, then yeah, you wasting your time. You could spend
you're making no sense right there.
In your life doing something much better and more productive with your life, right?
Yeah, because without even watching the show, just for the general what the show is about, you already understand if you could take it on or not. There's no reason to watch it just to go online and be like, vomit. You know you're not gonna like it. Unless you're gonna watch it with an open mind and give it a fair shake, don't watch it at all. Yeah, by the way, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Oh, 10 out of 10. Okay, wow. All right.
Because I have a love for it, right?
All right.
Because I've been on this since it started, basically.
All right, totally
The creator.
Mm.
So yeah, so for me, it's a deep love for this because of my whole trolling on YouTube and finding all these little cartoons and stuff. Like I said, Bravest Warrior, The Bravest Warriors, also Alpha Betas. If you've never seen Alpha Betas, it's on YouTube, animation. You need to watch Alpha Betas.
All right. Well, thanks for the recommendation, man. Well, what I would say, if you don't mind me cutting it, right, about this show, right, about this show, sorry, is that this for me is my true introduction to just the imagination that Vivian Medrano has, though. She just has such a vivid imagination, just coming up with all this kind of stuff, though. And you know, you could really feel the passion in what she puts into this, right? So it's really amazing that, you know, we had this one pilot back in 2019, and then she had the spin-off show, and now she has Hazbin Hotel here, right? So yeah, it's like the sky's the limit for her, right? So on the subject of the pilot itself, right? Again, I recommend that you do check it out on YouTube, right? But even while I was watching this, though, I was just taken aback, though, because all I just knew was it was just hell and characters there, right? But I didn't know that it was that subversive, though. I didn't know that it was going to be like that, right? So it takes a while for you to adjust into this, right? And then it gets even weirder when the musical numbers come in, right? And speaking of the music, I thought that the music totally works for this, though. It's that sort of Broadway style kind of music, right? But how the best way I could compare it to, it's similar to like what Trey Parker and Matt Stone did for the South Park movie Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and Team America, right? That sort of, or actually not so much Team America, but more South Park, right? That sort of Broadway style, but we throw in a little cuss words here or there. But the songs slap, and they really do slap, they really do, right? But again, it's what they're singing about and is the context of it too, right? And I would say like songwriting, it's excellent. Like it's genuinely excellent, right? So I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Amazon Prime Video, at least their YouTube channel, put out the musical numbers. I think some, if not all of them, online right now on YouTube, so you can watch them. I think that's a real smart call. It helps in promoting the show as well, right? But yeah, one takeaway from this show definitely is the music. So you have to go in, you know, even if you're not the biggest musical fan, yeah, you have to admit that the songwriting works, how it's framed in the episodes work, and just songwriting and this from a musical aspect, yeah, these songs slap though. On the subject of that, though, Erica Henningsen, who plays Charlie Morningstar, though. Wow, she is excellent in this, right? And I didn't even notice. I actually now found out she plays Katie Heron in Mean Girls, well, the musical version of Mean Girls, right? So
Oh, okay, nice.
yeah, so I'm like, but she is a star though. Like just the voice acting she does, the singing she
Yo,
does,
she's all bubbles, all bubbles.
yeah, boy. And she nails that whole optimistic vibe of her, right? Like when she sings, it's just so spirited though, the way how she sings and whatnot, right? And the voice that she does, right? Stephanie Beatrix actually get to sing she sang a few songs actually, which was kind of a letdown though, because like, I don't know, for me, I kind of fell in love with her singing voice, thanks to Encanto. Like when I heard her singing that, I was like, wow, that's you, boy. Like, wow, I like real love you though. Wow, you know what I mean? But I felt like she could have had more moments to sing though. Like, but she had a great duet with Erica, so that was cool. But I felt like she could have had more moments though, right? And I seen that too because oddly enough, she get top billing, and I was like, that kind of weird because it's really the Charlie story. It's not so much Vaggie really, but you know, Vaggie is there, but it's not about her, right? You know, she's just supporting Charlie, right? The supporting characters are very colorful, as the West I could say too. Whether it's Alistair, who once again just has that, just the I should mention too, the character design is great as well. It's this specific, how to say it really does remind me of stuff that you would see like in a Cartoon Network show. You know what I mean? It has that sort of like mid 2000s style of the artwork and the character design though, but I think that it works here, right?
So I'll tell you something interesting about that, right? About the character design in this show specifically. So everybody who is part of the universe that is main character or main supporting character, they are based on the way that they died and the way that they lived, right?
Okay.
So Alistair sounds and looks like that because of the serial killer, right?
Right.
But if you look at his legs are a deer's legs with hooves because he was shot and killed mistakenly as a deer or as a moose or whatever.
Right.
So that's how these character designs were done, which is very interesting as well. So it helps frame backstory for a lot of the characters as well.
All right. Well, thanks for the heads up there, man. Angel Dust though is how to say, an eyebrow raising character, boy. Just how crass he is, just how blatantly sexual he is, though. Just throwing all these double entendres on you. Well, not even double entendres. Like he will just kind of let people know, yeah, he just down to fuck though. He is that kind of guy, right? But I should mention though, episode 4, boy. Not only is it, in my opinion, the best episode in this whole season, boy, but it is probably the darkest one, boy, because they do some backstory into him. I should say, pretty much in this world, demons can have whole like a grip on other demons, so they could be like pretty much chained to them, like just spiritually, right? So they have to do their bidding, right? It's the same thing with Husk. I'm not gonna say who controls Husk, right? But with Angel, there is this particular guy, this porn director, Dread, who pretty much have him like just literally doing whatever, right? And just how they explore that character's backstory, though, right, was so incredibly dark, Joe, to the point that you will look at sex work in a totally different way, though. Like it's very, very, very dark, right? And the character gets a moment to sing as well, too, right? And slight spoiler, they choose a Weekend-esque kind of song for him to sing, a sort of a dark 80s synth pop song, and that fit perfectly with Angel Dust though, and the what he was singing about and all that kind of stuff though. But just be forewarned though, it is very, 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 very dark though, I must say, right? But how they spin it around though, like that episode does a complete 180 right afterwards though, and it just ends on a shockingly bright note, like a shockingly optimistic note though, because yeah, it was just like this downward spiral into hell, and then afterwards just do this 180, like wow, but like everything gonna be okay, but like wow, you know what I mean? But yeah, hands down best episode, right? And just the whole thing about this war that's coming up as well too. I like how it's all built up and whatnot. I like how it affects Charlene and her optimism as well too. Her dad Lucifer shows up and he's actually voiced by Jeremy Jordan. Last time I saw him was in Supergirl, right? He's Win, right, from Supergirl, right? And yeah, I was reminded that the man could sing though, like the man could really really sing though, and I actually do, again, it's characters, right? Not to be taken seriously. I actually do like the character of Lucifer in this, right? Again, not to be taken seriously, right? But for me though, the highlight, the best character for me though, agree to disagree, Ashton, is Adam though. Cause he is just such a douchebag though. He is such an asshole, but I like that he kind of revels in it. He's like, fuck you. He's like, up yours, bitches. You know what I mean? But it's how he portrays it though. Is so,
because he can get away with it all.
Yeah. It's just the cockiness of it that I love though. And yeah, he gets a moment to sing. I love the song that he sings. I think it's in episode 1 though. But yeah, it totally works though. As for gripes though, I just felt like the ending was a tad bit rushed, but I understand is the ending and they kind of work it with, a certain amount of time. So I felt like the war scene kind of went really quick. But they do set up, they do set up some stuff for a possible season 2. I think that, yeah, there will be a season 2. I mean, just off the popularity the show already getting, it's a no-brainer. You have to give it a second season, right? But I wasn't completely blown away by how it ended. It was just like, all right, well, this character may come and this and that, and like, okay, like, all right, cool, you know what I mean? But it works for what it is, right? Lastly, the artwork is great as well. As I said, Ashton, just the use of color is great though. Of course, in Hell, so there's a lot of like, not so much muted colors, but a lot of like reds
and oranges.
And oranges. But it all fits, right? And you see the contrast with Heaven as well too, and how it's shown, right? And also voice acting is great though. That's just across the board though. That's voice acting is stellar, right? From start to end. So yeah, as you said, Ashton, you really have to go in with an open mind with this though, because yes, when you go into it like blind as I did, it's very it's rather off-putting though. You just kind of watch it like, what the hell is all this? You're like, what the fuck am I watching, right? But once you kind of dive into what it is though, it absolutely works, right? But I would say, again, you have to see the pilot just to kind of get the gist of what this world is. And I should mention too though, this is, very NSFW type, content though, just very crass, very vulgar humor, a lot of F-bombs on this show. But again, it fits in the world of the show, right? It could kind of veer on the juvenile at times though, but again, I get it, it's Hell, and so nobody cares, right? But it kind of fits though, you know what I mean? I must say, right? So most of the times the jokes land, and oftentimes, I should say sometimes, not so much, but for the most part, the jokes really do land, right? So I have to give them credit for that, right? But again, if you're just going with an open mind, I just trust that, okay, this show is not going to try to change my mind on how I should view Heaven or Hell. It's just a weird, crazy subversion of it. That's all. It's all about entertainment. You will enjoy it. You will appreciate it for what it is, right? But for me, my main takeaway, though, is just the imagination that Vivian have, though, in just telling the story, right? And exploring this world. And you can tell a lot of it resonates with her and, with her sexuality as well, too. So, yeah, it's a show that, people can kind of watch and relate to in many ways, right? And I appreciate that. So yeah, I want to see more of her work. I want to see a season 2 of this. I want to see her expand this world, man, and just really let her imagination fly, right? For we know, she could be the next Jendi Tartovsky, right? Very soon. Who knows, right? But yeah, Rita Wise, for me, I'm gonna
I mean, like, sorry. I was going to say, we had to support these kind of people because, I mean, think of where this show came from, right? YouTube. And now it's on Amazon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So, and E24 is distributing this too, I must say too, right? So this
is what I'm saying. You had to follow your dreams out there, people. Follow your dreams out there. Follow them.
Yeah, because we went from YouTube to E24, and Amazon, Prime Video, this is what we talk about, right? So yeah, rating wise, I'm gonna give this strong 3.5 out of 5, man. I think that it is worth checking out. It is not gonna be for everybody, right? But I would say if you go in and you're gonna, like in my case, you want to binge it through, yeah, you kind of have to go in knowing what to expect, right? Even though you might be weighed out by just all the subversion and all the stuff, right? But again, as I said, Ashton, go in with an open mind and you will enjoy it, right? The show is not gonna subvert you or try to twist your mind or whatever. That's not the point of it, right? It's just meant to entertain. And yeah, I was actually thoroughly entertained by this, man. So yeah, I can't recommend this enough, man.